How do we go from a Hebrew Bible containing 22 books to a Hebrew Canon now containing 24 books? And then go from the term Canon containing 24 books to the acronym Tanakh now containing 39 books? The brothers want to know. Shalom and Shalom Israel. Hello Christians. What up to everyone else? Welcome to today's discussion of something to think about. It's presented by ThaBruthaz. Today's discussion is a continuation on the series Christianity and the Canon, 39-book Hebrew Tanakh. We will specifically look into the acronym Tanakh and how we went from the 22 and 24 book counts to a 39 book count. Hashtag Israelite writings 2 Hebrew Tanakh. That's Israelite writings, the number 2 Hebrew Tanakh. Administrative. Like always, I will quickly go over some administrative details before we get started. Setting expectations. I plan on reading virtually everything on my slides and my notes since some folk can only listen and are unable to watch. I will be following a script. It helps me to stay on point and not get too long-winded. Reminder, we go a little slower than other content providers. This is not a cut session, okay? We are just presenting information. No smoke and daggers here. Pause if needed. These are some of the sources we will use in today's discussion. Pause if needed. This is the remaining source we will use in today's discussion. Note, we do not claim that any image or source that we use and/or reference is 100. Pause if needed. Fair use disclaimer. This video is for educational and scholarly purposes only. Pause if needed. Doctrine disclaimer. This video contains our personal opinions and interpretations and is not meant to dictate doctrine. This video does not contain hate speech, nor do we advocate violence of any kind. Pause if needed. Before we get into today's topic, it's that time to give all praises to the Most High. How we do it. I will see you in a minute.
All praise to the Most High.
All right now.
All
Sing it.
praise to the Most High.
Go ahead, brother.
All
Come on now.
praise to the Most High.
All right now.
All
praise
praise to the Most High.
Praise him. Come on now. high. To the high. Praises, come on now. Go ahead. Praises, all praises, high. Praises, high. To the most high.
Yahawah.
All right, giving all praises to the Most High. Like I say, I couldn't do what I do without the Most High. You couldn't do what you do without the Most High. All right, let's get started. How did we go from having an unnumbered collection of Israelite writings down to just 22 books and subsequently 24 books, and then go from 24 books to 39 books, and also go from a Bible and a closed canon to the acronym Tanakh? I don't think these Israelites right here are buying it. Let's talk about it. Here's the agenda. We're going to recap the Israelite writings into 22 and 24 books, aka the previous 2 episodes. We're going to discuss the history of 39 books. Tanakh Defined. We're going to go into Nevi'im counts and the Ketuvim counts. We're going to give a brief summary, and then I will give some final comments. Recap. I will give a brief recap of the previous 2 videos regarding book counts. This is the first discussion on the conversion of the Israelite writings, titled Israelite Writings into 22 Books, Hebrew Bible, episode 47. This is the thumbnail.
Check it out.
In episode 47, we discussed the following topics: Israelite history in 3 parts, the law, the prophets, and the writings. Whether we should include the lost books, the Apocrypha books, lost letters, etc. How Israelite history contains more than 22 books. Did Josephus create the 22-book Hebrew Bible? What role did the Hebrew alphabet play? And we displayed the actual 22-book Hebrew Bible list. This is the previous discussion on the canonization process of the Israelite writings, titled Israelite Writings into 24 Books, Hebrew Canon, episode 48. This is the thumbnail.
Check it out.
In episode 48, we discussed the following topics: how we went from a 22-book Old Testament to 24 books, brief history of the use and the word canon. See also episodes 1, 2, and 3. What role the Greek alphabet played. Displayed actual 24-book Hebrew canon list. These 2 lists include the Babylonian Talmud list and the Rabbinic Masoretic Bible list. We presented a timeline of historical events during Roman control from 27 BC to the fall of the Western Empire in 476 AD. See also episode 8. We presented a timeline containing 22-book and 24-book people and events. So, as you can see, Israelites were confused. How did the Israelite writings get narrowed down from the law, the prophets, and all of the writings into just 22 books? You can imagine the shock Israelites had when they're told that their 22-book Hebrew Bible is now a 24-book Hebrew canon, and it is closed. Israelites are told they are no longer able to add to their own history. Now the Israelites are just frustrated. Why do they, the other people, keep changing things? Why do they claim our Israelite writings now contain 39 books? And why do some people call it the Tanakh? Let's find out.
What do you think?
Before we get into today's discussion, we have a few questions. Who created the concept of the Tanakh? How many Israelite prophets existed? What other Old Testament book counts exist? Listed denomination and book count. When did they stop identifying with the 22 book and 24 book enumeration and groupings? Please pause this video and put your answers in the comment section. Once again, I hope you paused the video and provided your answers. We definitely want to hear what you think. Let's continue. The Israelite writings were narrowed down to just 22 books. Then the book count increased to 24. Now, causing some frustration, they increased the book count to 39. Why?
What do you think?
Israelite writings from 22 to 24 to 39. As we already mentioned, the collection of the Israelite writings or history have historically been grouped into three categories: the law, the prophets, and the writings, or other books. See episode 47. We then discussed how and when the Israelite writings were minimized to just 22 books. See again episode 47. We then discussed how and when the Israelite writings morphed into 24 books. See episode 48. We will now discuss how and when the Israelite writings transformed from 24 books to 39 books. Israelite writings, now 39 books. When the books and groupings were numbered 22 and 24, it appeared that the 24 and 24 enumeration was specified when listing the actual books. For example, according to Josephus, he mentioned 22 books, numbered according to the letters of the Hebrew or Greek alphabets, relating to the number of elders in Revelation. Okay, so when people did their numbering, they referenced things like these right here. At some point, it appears that they stopped aligning with the 22 and 24 book groupings and enumeration. In my efforts to find out when the 22 and 24 book count ended and when the 39 book count started, it proved somewhat difficult. My investigation will start with identifying some people who have an actual book list, but do not identify their list as relating to the original 22 or 24 book list or grouping. My investigation first took me here. The Biblical Canon list from Early Christianity, Text and Analysis, published in 2017 by, Edmund Gallagher and John Mead.
Look it up.
Look it up. What does this source show about people who have Old Testament book list counts greater than 24? We will read information regarding Amphilochus of Iconium, where we see this. Amphilochus, who lived around 340 to 404 AD, became Bishop of Iconium in 373. Old Testament Canon. The first part of the list treats the books of the Old Covenant. Okay, I just want to emphasize this word canon for later. Amphilochus does not claim to be imparting the 22 books of the Hebrews, nor does he mention the 27 books of the Old Testament, as many of the lists from the 3rd and 4th centuries do. Okay, so he's not referencing the 22 or the 27 as many people did in the 3rd and 4th centuries. So, what does the number 27 represent? Recall that 27 is the recognized canonical books as discussed in episode 47. To get to 22, the number of letters in the Hebrew alphabet, they claim 5 of the letters have a double form. Likewise, 5 of the books are counted as double, which is how we go from 27 to 22. to match the number of letters in the Hebrew alphabet. Example, 1 and 2 Kings are grouped together to make one book. His list includes 38 books. If the double books, example, 1 and 2 Kingdoms, are not reckoned as one book, and the 12 prophets are reckoned as individual books. Okay, recall in the previous 2 episodes on this topic that the book counts include 2 books counted as one book. Okay, another example, 1st and 2nd Kings are counted as one book. Ezra and Nehemiah are counted as one book. Okay, so there's several people who create a list that have double books counted as one book. Amphilochus presents Seleucus with the study of the sacred books and the order of the rule of faith. So, when did Amphilochus make his list? This source, Iambi ad Seleucum, is dated 380 AD or CE. This is where Amphilochus presents Seleucus with the study of the sacred books. So, his list was created in 380 AD. Let's view his list. Amphilochus 38 book list. We got the Pentateuch, the typical 5 books of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. A few other books here, Joshua, Judges, and Ruth. We got 1 to 4 Kingdoms, 1 to 2 Chronicles, 1 to 2 Esdras. We got the 5 books in verse. I did not go look up what is verse. Okay, Job, Book of Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs. Then we got Esther, which appears to have been disputed. We got the 4 prophets, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, and Jeremiah. And then we got the typical 12 prophets, Hosea, Amos, Micah, Joel, Obadiah, Jonah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. Okay, when you add up all of the individual books, you get 38. If you separate Lamentations right here from Jeremiah, then you get 39. Okay, the main takeaway is that Amphilochus does not associate his list with the 22 book count nor the 24 book count. We will now read information regarding Augustine of Hippo, where we see this. Augustine, 354 to 430 AD, is generally recognized as the most important theologian in the Western Church after the New Testament. Augustine included all of the books of the Canon later approved by the Council of Trent, i.e., the Roman Catholic Biblical Canon. Again, just want to emphasize Canon for later discussion. Except that Augustine did not name explicitly Lamentations, Baruch, or the Epistle of Jeremiah. It is likely that he assumed all of these books under the title Jeremiah. Grouping Lamentations, Baruch, and the Epistle of Jeremiah with the canonical book of Jeremiah was common when people made their book list back in the day. We just mentioned one example previously regarding Amphilochus. He did the same thing. His biblical canon thus included all the books of the Jewish canon, along with the Deuteronomical books Tobit, Judith, 1 and 2 Maccabees, Wisdom of Solomon, and Sirach, and additionally 1 Esdras, i.e. Esdras A, 1 Esdras. Jewish canon does not equate to Israelite canon. Recall that there is no such thing as an Israelite canon. We discussed that in episode 48, Israelite Writings, now 24 books, Hebrew canon. His OT canon corresponds to the contemporary list approved at Hippo and the list issued by Innocent I. We will discuss Pope Innocent I next. Augustine numbered the Old Testament as 44 books. You probably know this, but 44 is more than 39. Okay, so when did Augustine make his list? On Christian Teaching, date 397 AD. In the introduction, within Book 2 of this treatise on biblical interpretation, Augustine comes to the topic of the biblical canon. So Augustine's list was created in 397 AD in this document called On Christian Teaching. Augustine of Hippo, 44 book list. We got the 5 books of Moses: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Then we have some other books: Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Songs. Then we got the historiography: Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1-4 Reigns, which is the same as Kingdoms, 1 and 2 Chronicles, Job, Esther, Tobit, Judith, 1 and 2 Maccabees, 1 and 2 Ezra. Typically, that's Ezra, Nehemiah. Then we got Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, and Jeremiah with Lamentations. We got Wisdom and Ecclesiasticus, aka Sirach. And we got the 12 prophets from Hosea down to Malachi. As you can see, there are 6 Apocrypha books included in Augustine's list. That's this red text here: Tobit, Judith, 1 and 2 Mac, Wisdom, and Ecclesiasticus. Okay, that's according to this source. When you add up all of the individual books, you get 44. If you separate out Lamentations, then you get 45. However, I think this source forgot to add 1st Ezra to the list, which it clearly mentioned in the text. Okay, typically 1 and 2 Ezra is Ezra and Nehemiah, so this would not include 1 Esdras. Okay, and 1-4 Reigns, aka Kingdoms, is 1 and 2 Samuel and 1 and 2 Kings. With all this said, Augustine of Hippo does not associate his list with the 22 book count nor the 24 book count, which is what we're trying to emphasize here. We just saw a reference to Pope Innocent I when discussing Augustine of Hippo. We will now discuss Pope Innocent, where we see this. Innocent served as Bishop of Rome 402 to 417 at a critical period in the history of the city and in the development of the Roman Church. Okay, even at the beginning of the 5th century, they are still figuring out this church stuff. Recall, this is just after Rome accepts Christianity as a state religion in 380 AD. The Old Testament affirmed by Innocent in Epistle 6.7 includes essentially the same books later canonized at the Council of Trent in 1546. Without any distinction among the books, and he does not make explicit which books he might include under the umbrella term Jeremiah. Again, grouping several books with Jeremiah was very common. Innocent makes no point about the total number of books included in the Old Testament. So Innocent does not identify with the 22 book or the 24 book list. But he does sometimes mention that particular titles include one book, example, Judges, Tobit, etc., or 2, 4, 5, or 16 books. If one counts simply the titles in the list, one arrives at the number 44. The same number of books Augustine says. As you can see, once again, the list is numbered 44, not 39. So, when did Innocent create his list? Pope Innocent received a letter from a bishop. He responded in Epistle 6 in 405 AD. In his response, he presented a list of canonical books. Innocent concludes his list by condemning any other writing that bears the name of an apostle. Pope Innocent I, 44 book list. So we got the books of Moses, Genesis through Deuteronomy. We got Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 and 4 Kingdoms, and the Psalms. Then we got the history books: Job, Esther, Tobit, Judith, 1 and 2 Maccabees, 1 and 2 Esdras, which is Ezra, Nehemiah, and 1 and 2 Chronicles. We got Solomon, his 5 books, and then we got the prophets, 16 books. Okay, this is where this particular source ends this list for Pope Innocent I. Okay, you don't see the 5 books of Solomon. You don't see the 16 prophets. Pope Innocent I, 44 book list expanded. Okay, so I'm going to expand this list for you. So we got Solomon, his 5 books: Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Songs, Wisdom, and Ecclesiasticus. Okay, here are the 5 books. You might be wondering, has anyone attributed Ecclesiasticus to Solomon? And the answer is yes. Okay, the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, was traditionally attributed to Solomon by some early church writers. Now we go 16 prophets. We're going to show the 4 here. So here are the typical 4 major prophets: Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, and Jeremiah. Okay? And here are the typical 12 minor prophets, from Hosea to Malachi, the same 12. When one adds up the individual books, we get 44. Just like Augustine of Hippo, there are 6 apocryphal books included in Innocent's list. The red text here: Tobit, Judith, 1 and 2 Maccabees, Wisdom, and Ecclesiasticus. Okay? And like Augustine of Hippo, Pope Innocent I does not associate his list with the 22 book count nor the 24 book count, which is our emphasis. I want to point out that this source, the Biblical Canon, does list other people who associate with the 22 book count at the same time that Rome accepted Christianity in 380 AD, or approximately the same time. We got Epiphanius of Salamis, around 315 to 403 AD. He established a monastery in Palestine. He is a bishop in Cyprus. His document is Panarion 8:6-1-4. Date of this document is around 376 AD, okay, right before Rome accepted. Introduction. In this document, Epiphanius recounts the history of the Jewish people, and he includes a list of their 27 sacred books, reckoned as 22 according to the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Okay, so 4 years before Rome accepts Christianity, Epiphanius creates his list and reckons them according to the number of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, 22. Here's another person, Gregory, around 329 to 390, 391 AD. He's a theologian and bishop. Document, Carmina Theologica, Book 1, Section 1, Carmen 12. Date of this document is around 381 to 390 AD. In this document, we see Gregory's canon of the Old Testament agrees mainly with the contents of the 22 books of the Jewish canon. Okay, I just want to point out that this source right here is not exclusive, or does not highlight exclusively people with the 39 book count ideology. This is a standard timeline I have used in many videos, okay? So we got things like the Roman Empire. Combined, started in 27 BC. We got the first, second, and third Jewish-Roman wars. Okay, this is when the temple was destroyed, 70 AD. Second Jewish-Roman war, diaspora. Midpoint's about 116 AD. Then the third, Bar Kokhba revolt, 135 AD. We got pen to paper on the Mishnah around 200 AD. We got to the far right, the fall of the Western Empire, 476 AD. At 397, that's when I believe the Council of Carthage created the first full list of canon books. Okay, that's an opinion. We do not believe the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD produced a full list. Okay, then two of the most important dates on this timeline is the Edict of Milan in 313 AD, and the Roman Empire accepts the religion of Christianity in 380. What is the Edict of Milan? Okay, it's an agreement to treat Christians respectfully within the Roman Empire. It gave Christianity legal status and reprieve from persecution. Sources claim that Christianity was regarded as a cult prior to this edict. Okay? We will now put Amphilochius, Augustine, and Pope Innocent I into our timeline. So you can see Amphilochus, 38 book list dated 380 AD. Augustine of Hippo, 44 book list dated 397 AD. Pope Innocent I, 44 book list dated 405 AD. Okay, understand that all three of these people utilize the 39 book count when you look into their actual list. These three people also added some of the Apocrypha books to their list. Okay, we discussed the Apocrypha in our Apocrypha series. The main takeaway is the time frame of the potential shift to the 39 book count list. This is when it appears that the shift to the 39 book count started. Okay, please pause at any time to view the details. So this is just an approximate range of when it looks like the shift started to go to the 39 book count. Keep this date range in mind as we look at the 22 and 24 book count timeline list from the previous video. We're about to look at that next. This timeline was produced in episode 48. I want to remind everyone what the 22 book and 24 book count timeline look like. Please watch episode 47 and episode 48 for all the details presented in this timeline, the stuff I'm about to show down here. Okay? So, the Israelite history in 3 parts. Again, this is just like a recap of what we went through in the previous 2 videos. We got the law, the prophets, and the writings. So we got Luke 24 and 44, approximately 30 AD. In it, it says, in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms. Okay, it says Psalms. Then we got the prologue to Sirach, probably around 140 to 170 BC, depending on source. In the text, it says the law and the prophets and other books. We got Josephus, approximately 95 AD, arguably the first person to discuss a 22-book list without actually providing a complete list. You can find this in his writing, Life of Flavius Josephus. Eusebius documented Melito's book list around 170 AD. Melito's list is missing the book of Esther, but he mentions wisdom. The way the list is presented, it appears to be 21 books, in my opinion. Origen 22 book list around 230 AD. Source, the Ecclesiastical History of Eusebius. He included the Maccabees, but he is missing the 12 prophets. Origen, according to Eusebius, also referenced the 22 Hebrew letters around 230 AD. So that's why you see right here, his book list 22, he also referenced the Hebrew alphabet. Eusebius referenced Josephus' 22 books in chapter 9 of Josephus and the works he has left around 324 to 325 AD. You got Cyril of Jerusalem wrote Catechetical Lecture 4 of the Divine Scriptures, where he includes his 22 book list around 350 AD. Athanasius includes his 22 book list and Festal Letter 39, which he wrote around 367 AD. Jerome and Epiphanius both mentioned the 22 Hebrew letters in their writings around 392 AD. Jerome mentioned the 22 Hebrew letters and the prologue to the books of Samuel and Kings. Epiphanius mentioned the 22 Hebrew letters and On Measures and Weights, his document. Then we got here, Rufinus referenced Josephus' 22 books and his commentary on the Apostles' Creed. Once again, pause if needed if you want to look over these details. I'm going to rearrange these 22 book items to fit with the 24 book items I'm about to add. Okay, I am now going to add a few data points relating to the 24 book count. So you can see way back here, 2nd Esdras 1445. After 586 BC, before 537 BC, sometime between the temples. It says, make public the 24 books and hide the other 70. Verse 46. Some modern scholars reference 2 Esdras when discussing the 24 book count. Note that some scholars claim 2 Esdras chapters 3 to 14 were actually written between 70 and 120 AD. This would explain why it was not mentioned by other people at an earlier time. They waited until later. The historical setting is between the temples, but it may have actually been written after 70 AD. Okay, see episode 37, Apocrypha Timeline, Books of Ezra, for more on this specific topic. Okay, then here we got Hilary mentioned the 24-letter Greek alphabet in relation to a book count around 365 AD. Hilary mentions the Greek alphabet when he wrote treatises on the Psalms. Okay, Hilary is also mentioned in the source we are using today, the biblical canon. Here, 24 book count idea started during the time of Jerome, according to a source we cited in the previous video, episode 48. So you can see Hilary mentioned the 24 Greek letters here, but another source says it started with Jerome. Okay, his lifespan 347 to 420 AD. Therefore, I can only conclude late 4th century to early 5th century. We also know that the Talmud made the number 24 by separating Judges and Ruth, Jeremiah, and Lamentations. However, the actual Talmud 24 book list comes at a later date. Also notice that this is the same time that Amphilochus started using the 39 or 38 book count. At the bottom down here, we see the actual 24 book list that I could find in episode 48 are both Talmud lists. We got the Babylonian Talmud between 500 and 600 AD and the tripartite Rabbinic Masoretic Bible around 700 to 1000 AD. Understand that the people associated with the Talmud, Rabbinic groups, etc. are a different religious group than the Christian group we are focused on. Again, pause if needed. There is a lot of detail on this timeline. I apologize. I am now going to combine the 3 people who we cited having a 39 book count to this timeline. We got Amphilochus, who he displays his book list dated 380 AD, same year as as Rome accepts Christianity as a state religion. Augustine of Hippo displays his book list, date 397 AD, the same year when the Council of Carthage displays the full canon list of books. And we got Pope Innocent I displays his book list, date 405 AD. I know it is a lot of data on one timeline. I just want you to see it on the same screen. Once again, keep in mind that they were in the process of creating the Christian religion during these 400 plus years. Again, pause if needed. The Hebrew Tanakh? The Hebrew Israelites did not have a Tanakh. The Hebrew Israelites have no idea what that is. Look at them. They're confused, just like when they heard the word canon for the first time. So, who made up the acronym Tanakh? Israelite writings to Hebrew Tanakh. As we already mentioned, the collection of the Israelite writings or history have historically been grouped into 3 categories: the law, the prophets, and the writings, or other books. See episode 47. We then discussed the word Bible, also in episode 47. We then discussed the word canon, that was in episode 48. We will now discuss the word or acronym Tanakh. How they define Tanakh. It's AKA, we got T-N-K, TNK, or capital T, small a, capital N, small a, capital K, Tanakh. Acronym for the Hebrew Bible consisting of the initial Hebrew letters T plus N plus K of each of the text's 3 major parts. subsequent vowel sounds were added to the consonants, resulting in the word Tanakh. Tanakh, not used during the Second Temple period. So that's important to know. Tanakh was not used during the Second Temple period. The acronym Tanakh became popular in the Middle Ages after the fall of Western Roman Empire in 476 AD, all the way to the Age of Discovery in 1450 AD. Tanakh, tripart division. This division is a matter of historical development and does not represent a classification of the books according to topic or style. Torah, meaning instruction or law, also called the five books of Moses and the Pentateuch, and probably a few other things. Nevi'im, meaning the prophets, associated with anything to do with prophets, later subdivided into former prophets and latter prophets. Names of the books are based upon the central figure or attributed author. Ketuvim, meaning the writings. This part of the Tanakh is further separated into different sections, including a group of history books, wisdom books, poetry books, and psalms. Recall from episode 47, Israelite writings in the 22 books. This is a typical 22-book list of writings in what many call the Hebrew Bible. Also notice the double books, like 1st and 2nd Samuel, right here as an example. Also notice that Daniel is not in the prophets list. You see, Daniel's over here in the writings, okay? It's not over here in this list. Okay, some would put Daniel under prophets. This by itself illustrates a difference in the list of prophets by different scholars or historians. We will now take a closer look at the Nevi'im, aka the prophets. The second part of the Tanakh is the Nevi'im, aka the prophets. We will now address some questions and comments regarding the Nevi'im enumeration or groupings. Tanakh, Nevi'im, prophets. How many Israelite prophets are mentioned within the Israelite writings? The typical 22-book list claims 8 prophets or books. One of those books has 12 prophets. One of the 24-book lists show 10 books of prophets. Pope Innocent I and Amphilochus mention 16. So, which prophet count is correct?
What do you think?
Prophet counts. Various Hebrew Bibles. Typical 22-book count list for prophets. See episode 47. Okay, the Babylonian Talmud list for prophets is the same list as the typical 22-book prophets that you see here. Okay, so that Babylonian Talmud list, the same list right here. See episode 48. This is the tripartite Rabbinic Masoretic Bible list for prophets. Okay, see episode 48. So this is the Masoretic list. Today we have a few people who essentially provide the same prophet list for their 39-book Hebrew Bible list count. Okay, again, how many Israelite prophets are mentioned within the Israelite writings? Mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, the Hebrew Canon, or the Tanakh? One might think 8, 10, or 16 if they're not paying attention, okay? If they're not studying or simply not doing any basic research.
That's something to think about.
Here are some other lost prophet books not listed among the Hebrew Bible's list of prophetical books. These particular books of prophets are mentioned from the typical list you will find if you simply search the internet. We presented a lost book list in episode 47. Okay, so we have things like this. If you search the internet, you're going to find prophet books like this. Samuel the Seer, 1 Chronicles 29:29. Gad the Seer, 1 Chronicles 29:29. Edu the Seer, 2 Chronicles 9:29. Then you got chapter 12:15 and 13:22. Nathan the prophet, 1 Chronicles 29:29, 2 Chronicles 9:29. Prophecy of Ahiah the Shilonite, 2 Chronicles 9:29. Shemaiah the prophet, 2 Chronicles 12:15. Book of Jehu the son of Hanani, 2 Chronicles 20:34. Vision of Isaiah the prophet, 2 Chronicles 32:32. Saying of the seers, 2 Chronicles 33:19. Samuel the seer could be the same Samuel in the books of Samuel 1 and 2. We acknowledge that. Vision of Isaiah the prophet could be the same Isaiah in the book of Isaiah. We acknowledge that. If we remove these two prophets, you still have 7 more prophets not in any book list. Okay? And how many prophets are in the saying of the seers here? Is there 10? 20? Okay. I want to now list a few more other prophets. Unknown prophets. Judges 6:7-8 GNT, verse 7. Then the people of Israel cried out to the Lord for help against the Midianites. Verse 8. And he sent them a prophet who brought them this message from the Lord. Numbers 11:25 RSV. Verse 25. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and spoke to them, and took some of the spirit that was upon them and put it upon the 70 elders. And when the spirit rested upon them, they prophesied. But they did so no more. Okay? Known prophets. 1 Kings 18:36 GNT. At the hour of the afternoon sacrifice, the prophet Elijah approached the altar and prayed. 2 Kings 9:1 GNT. Meanwhile, the prophet Elisha called one of the young prophets and said to him. Okay, so we just witnessed many unknown prophets and a couple well-known prophets not listed in any book list count. Back at this slide, we see how they count the books of the prophets. Regardless of the Bible, Canon, or Tanakh, many will assume that these are the actual prophet counts. Again, how many Israelite prophets are mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, the Hebrew Canon, or Tanakh? Again, one might think 8, 10, or 16 if they're not paying attention or just doing some basic research.
That's something to think about.
Prophet counts. What is the true count? We have either 8, 10, or 16 prophets depending on how the prophets are grouped or enumerated within the Israelite writings. We have former and latter prophets, major and minor prophets. If we remove these 2 lost books of prophets, Vision of Isaiah and Samuel the seer, we still have 7 lost prophets or books of prophets. We also have obvious prophets not in the list of books, Elijah and Elisha, for example. We also have a couple examples of unknown prophets. If you would do an internet search or an AI search, you will find other prophets not in any book count of the Hebrew scriptures. Okay? Book count list of the Hebrew scriptures. So, how many Israelite prophets existed during biblical times? Or better yet, why are they coming up with an Israelite prophet count? Did they consult any Israelites? Did they even read the Israelite writings when counting the Israelite prophets?
What do you think?
I don't think they read the Old Testament, the Israelite writings. Now let's take a closer look at the Ketuvim, aka the writings or other books, the third part of the Tanakh. Tanakh, Ketuvim, or writings. According to the prologue to Sirach, the 3 parts include other books. It did not say the books were limited in number. How many other books existed or ever existed? Is it possible that these other books had even more other books mentioned within them?
Now that's really something to think about.
Once again, this is a typical 22-book list of the books that many call the Hebrew Bible. We will now focus on the writings or other books, the Ketuvim. Writing counts. Writings count. Various Hebrew Bibles. Typical 22-book count list for the writings or other books. See episode 47. The Babylonian Talmud list for the writings is the same list as the typical 22-book list writings that we see right here, except it includes Ruth and Lamentations. You can see that in episode 48. This is the tripart Rabbinic Masoretic Bible list for the writings or other books. See episode 48. Notice it includes what is known as the 5 scrolls counted as one book. See right here, there's 5 books here, but it's counted just as one. Ruth and Lamentations are removed from the prophets. Okay, so you see Ruth and Lamentations in here, and they're included in the 5 scrolls. Ezra and Nehemiah, along with Chronicles, are separated into 2 books each. You can see that down here. Ezra and Nehemiah, 1st and 2nd Chronicles. The 3 people we discussed earlier have almost the same arrangement of books under the writings: Amphilochus, Augustine, and Pope Innocent I. Daniel is now under the prophets and not listed here under the Ketuvim. Lamentations is still combined with the prophet Jeremiah. Add these 18 writings with the 16 prophets and the 5 books of Moses, and you get the 39 book count. Main takeaway is that these 3 did not identify with a 22 book count or a 24 book count. Again, how many Israelite writings or other books are mentioned in the Old Testament, mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, the Hebrew Canon, or Tanakh? Is it 9 like these 2 show, or is it 18?
What do you think?
What about these other books? Should we count these other books among historical Israelite literature? Apocrypha, typical list of books. We got 1 and 2 Esdras, Tobit, Judith, Esther including additions, Wisdom of Solomon, Sirach also, Ecclesiasticus, Baruch including letter to Jeremiah, 3 Holy Children, Susanna, Bell and the Dragon, Prayer of Manasseh, 1 and 2 Maccabees. Should these Apocrypha books be included in the writings list?
What do you think?
What do you think? What about these lost books mentioned within the so-called Old Testament? These particular lost books of writings are from the typical list you will find if you search the internet. We got Jasher, that's in Joshua 10 and 13 and 2 Samuel 1 and 18. Wars of the Lord, that's in Numbers 21 and 14. Manner of the Kingdom, 1 Samuel 10 and 25. Chronicles, Kings of Judah, 1 Kings 14:29, 2 Chronicles 16:11, 27:7, and 32:32. You got the Chronicles, Kings of Israel, 1 Kings 14:19, 16 and 5, 2 Chronicles 16:11, 27:7, 32 and 32. Acts of Solomon, 1 Kings 11 and 41, Chronicles of King David, 1 Chronicles 27 and 24, Story of the Book of the Kings, 2 Chronicles 24 and 27, Acts of Uzziah, 2 Chronicles 26 and 22, Lamentations for Josiah, 2 Chronicles 35 and 25, Chronicles including Media and Persia, that's in Esther 2 and 23, 6 and 1, 10 and 2, also in Nehemiah 12 and 23. Should we count these books among the historical Israelite literature, although we do not possess them?
What do you think?
Let's look at some other potential books not in the typical lost book list. The lost books are the typical books you will find on the internet. They seem somewhat obvious, but what about the following books? They do not seem to get the same attention. Okay, we got other books, Adam's Family Album in Genesis 5 and 1 RSV. It says, this is the book of the generations of Adam. When Adam created man, he made him in the likeness of God. Is this book only Genesis chapters 4 and 5, containing the chosen line? Or could this be a book containing Adam and all his children, grandchildren, where they lived, etc.? Maybe this book would explain if Adam and Eve were the first humans, or made from the ground after the other humans were made, or called out from among a group of existing people.
Now that's really something to think about.
What is in the book of the generations of Adam? Other books. Possible plat map. Joshua 18:8-10 RSV. Verse 8. So the men started on their way, and Joshua charged those who went to write the description of the land, saying, Go up and down and write a description of the land, and come again to me, and I will cast lots for you here before the Lord in Shiloh. Verse 9. So the men went and passed up and down in the land and set down in a book a description of it by towns and in 7 divisions. Then they came to Joshua in the camp at Shiloh. Verse 10. And Joshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before the Lord, and there Joshua apportioned the land to the people of Israel, to each his portion. Could this be a plat book with plat lines, deed lines, parcels, and lot lines, or something similar?
That's something to think about.
What is the true writings count? We have either 9 or 18 books depending on how they are grouped or enumerated within the Old Testament. We also have many lost writings or books. See episode 47. Once again, according to the prologue to Sirach, the 3 parts of the Israelite historical literature includes other books. Since they like to reference the prologue to Sirach, should we count the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus? What about the rest of the Protestant Apocrypha books? What about the Apocrypha books that did not make the Apocrypha? Should we include those in the count?
What do you think?
What about the writings of Josephus? Would his writings not be considered historical Israelite literature from a credible Israelite historian? What about Adam's genealogy and possible plat books? How many other books exist or ever existed? Is it possible that these other books mention even more other books? Did the Israelites ever stop producing other books? So, how many Israelite writings or books existed within the Ketuvim during biblical times?
What do you think?
What do you think? Timeline. I would now like to compare the modern construct or phrase known as the Hebrew Bible, the Hebrew Canon, and the acronym Tanakh with the 22, 24, and 39 book counts. Once again, this is a standard timeline I have used many times. This is the main time frame when Christianity was formed, in my opinion. I give Christianity a birth date of 70 AD. See Early Church Fathers, Birth of Christianity, episode 18, for my discussion on that topic. They could see, smell, taste, hear, and touch the temple. Once the temple was destroyed by the Romans, they replaced Israel and the Mosaic Law with Christianity, the religion accepted by the Romans. Okay, so we have the main things here. The Roman Empire combined started in 27 BC. First, Second, and Third Wars here, 70, 116, and 135 AD. The most important things, I believe, are the Edict of Milan and when Rome accepted the Nicene version of Christianity. That was 380 AD. The Edict of Milan, that was 313. Up until then, Christianity was treated like a cult. But then the Roman government accepted that so-called cult and made it their religion in 380. Okay? Recall that the Israelite history is in 3 parts: the law, the prophets, and the writings. Luke 24:44, approximately 30 AD. This verse includes in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms. People take the word Psalms to mean writings. prologue to Sirach around 140 to 170 BC. The text includes the Law and the Prophets and other books. 2nd Ezra 1445, after 586 BC and before 537 BC, again, sometime between the temples. This text includes make public the 24 books, and in verse 46 it says, and hide the other 70 books, which were more important. Some modern scholars reference Luke 24, the prologue to Sirach, and 2nd Esdras when discussing the breakdown of the Israelite history in the three parts. The construct or phrase Hebrew Bible was put together possibly after 1800 AD. I cannot find any credible source that demonstrates a church father or historian that actually uses that phrase to describe the Israelite writings within the first 4 centuries. In episode 48, the source, Critical History and Defense, claims that the word canon was not used until the time of Origen. It said that no trace of it can be found in the 2nd century regarding information on Origen of Alexandria. Its lifespan 185 to 253 AD. Therefore, we can conclude no earlier than the 3rd century. So here's the word canon. Some source says it was not used in the 1st century or in the 2nd century. Another source, Smith's Bible Dictionary, claims canon was first used around 380 AD. The acronym Tanakh. Recall earlier that Tanakh was not used during the Second Temple period. That means not before 70 AD. In fact, Tanakh became popular in the Middle Ages after the fall, right here, of the Western Empire, up to the Age of Discovery, 1450, approximately 1450 AD. 22 book count. Josephus mentioned 22 books in 95 AD. Several other people referenced Josephus' 22 book count. Other people also referenced the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet to get their book count to 22. This reflects the use of the 22 book count by different people during this time frame. All during this time frame right here, from 95 all the way up to past 400, people were using 22 in their book count. We got the 24 book count. Hillary referenced the 24 letter Greek alphabet around 365 AD. According to the source Critical History and Defense, the 24 book count started during the time of Jerome. The actual 24 book list that I presented in episode 48 are both Talmud lists. Those Talmud lists are between 500 to 1000 AD. Then we got the 39 book count. Recall the 3 people we discussed today. Amphilochus' book list was dated 380 AD. Notice also that this is the year that Rome accepted Christianity as its state religion. We got Augustine of Hippo's book list dated 397 AD. Notice also this is when we believe the first complete Bible book list was presented at the Council of Carthage. Pope Innocent I's book list dated 405 AD. These 3 people did not associate their book list with either the 22 or 24 count groupings. Again, pause if needed. Summary. I will now give a brief overall summary of today's discussion. Summary: Israelite writings. Historically, the collection of Israelite writings have been grouped into 3 categories: the Law, the Prophets, and the Writings or other books. This collection of Israelite writings went from an unknown book count all the way down to just 22. Then the book count increased to 24. Now we see the book count at 39. Why? Why do they keep changing our stuff? Summary counts: Christian versus Jewish. Rome accepted Christianity as its state religion in 380 AD. At this point, Christians were starting to use the 39-book enumeration, while the Jewish population was favoring the 24-book enumeration. Recall that the two 24-book lists that I provided in episode 48 were the Babylonian Talmud list and the Rabbinic Masoretic Bible list. These two lists were produced between 500 to 1000 AD. Summary: Bible name. Scholars use the name Bible to describe the Israelite writings. Hebrew Bible is a modern construct which simply means a collection of books. Scholars also describe the Israelite writings as the Hebrew Canon. The acronym Tanakh, which is the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim, was not used during the Second Temple period. The acronym Tanakh became popular for the Jewish population sometime after the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD. Some sources mention the Tanakh and the Bible as being the same, since the Jewish population does not adhere to the New Testament. So if you read a source and it says the Tanakh is the Bible, we'll try to look into it deeper and see, well, is it really talking about the Jewish population referencing the Tanakh as the Bible? Because they don't adhere to the New Testament. Recall how we discussed in the previous two episodes that the Israelites did not have a Bible, did not have a canon, did not have a Tanakh.
Now that's really something to think about.
So keep that in mind. Final comments. I want to wrap this up with a few of my own comments, my own thoughts, and tell you what these Israelites might be thinking. Cancel Bible, Canon, and Tanakh. I believe the concept of a Bible, Canon, and Tanakh all need to be eliminated for those of us who are called Israelites, who are actual Israelites. Why? Because they control the narrative, and this is one way to diminish our history. This is a subtle way of reducing the Israelite prophet count and book count. Did the Israelite literature book count actually stop at 22, 24, 39, 44, 48? Okay. Number of Israelite prophets and books. How many Israelite prophets are actually mentioned within the Israelite writings? How many Israelite prophets truly existed? Okay, so how many are mentioned? How many existed? How many Israelite books are actually mentioned within the Israelite writings? How many Israelite books truly existed? How many books were mentioned, but how many truly exist? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to get us to not remember that there are other so-called lost books and prophets? Are they trying to get us to forget that there are many other books and prophets not within the internet's lost book list? Are they trying to simply diminish our Israelite history? Understand that when we search the internet, we may only get the so-called lost book list. There is a good chance we will not see the other books mentioned in the Israelite writings. That is why we need to be diligent when we do our searches. They say, forget those books. Do they want us to forget about the other books like the Book of the Generations of Adam, additional genealogy books, potential plat map books? Were Israelites not intelligent enough to plot out our land? Not intelligent enough to make buildings, sanitation and water systems, etc.? These are things you need to document in a book. They say, forget the past. They are trying very hard to get Israelites to forget our history. They are literally systematically erasing our history and rewriting it to benefit them. By calling our literature a Bible, a canon, or the Tanakh, and then telling us we cannot add to our historical records. Then they say, forget the past, while they are creating a religion.
Now that's really something to think about.
Closing remarks. I would like to provide a few closing remarks before we end this discussion.
What do you think?
Before we close out this discussion, we have a few more questions. How many actual Israelite prophets existed during biblical times? How many actual Israelite writings or books existed during biblical times? Do you believe there are more than 39 combined historical Israelite writings within the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim? Please put your answers in the comment section of this video, or you can send us an email. Please check the description box of this channel for that email. Or we always try to share our email in the description text of all of our video discussions. Once again, we thank you for your feedback. Research.
Remember, do your own research.
The views contained in this video were our personal opinions and our interpretation of sources used and were not meant to dictate doctrine. We recommend to everyone, do your own research. We plan to list all of our sources that we use in all of our discussion videos. We are citing the sources and, when appropriate, providing page numbers so you can trust but verify. We encourage everyone, read as much as you can. There is a lot of historical Christian literature out there for all of us to access. Not so you can become a Christian, so you can learn what they think, how they feel about everything. And we admit, some material is hard to find. This concludes today's discussion on Christianity and the Canon, 39-book Hebrew Tanakh. Hashtag Israelite Writings, the number 2 Hebrew Tanakh. We want to thank you for watching this discussion of something to think about. I am Brother Mitch. My brother is Brother Mike. We are the brothers. We are disciples of Yahawashi. I want to say shalom and shalom Israel. Goodbye, Christians. Hi to everyone else. Till next time.
Follow the brothers.
On YouTube,
Hebrew Connect TV.
X,
Fanbase, Rumble,
Or visit their website.
See also Facebook, Gab, and Truth.
The following is an HBO special featuring the brothers.
Yo, can you help the brothers out?
HBO special.
you can use PayPal.
The brothers need some digital money.
Or you can use CashApp.
Every little bit helps.
Please support their efforts.
You can even use a credit card.
And Venmo.
Why are you selling cookies?
Please help support this organization.
It's okay if you can't give. Just spread the word.
That's just as important as giving.
pressure.